Hi, welcome. Just some thoughts today about the fact that Jesus is the Good Shepherd. Good Shepherd. We see that centered around the 23rd Psalm. Used to using that psalm maybe so much in funerals and things like that, but the comfort that that psalm gives us, the 23rd Psalm, the Lord is my shepherd. So just some quick thoughts about the fact that Jesus is our shepherd. He talks about that in the New Testament when he comes and he's talking to his disciples and he's leading his followers. He talks about the fact that he's the shepherd, the one that won't let even one of his lambs get away, the 99 sheep, and the good shepherd that goes and finds the sheep. And so just some thoughts. Number one, Jesus leads the sheep. He leads us. He directs us. He gives us the direction that we need in life. And so we see that. I think that's the emphasis of Psalm 23, that Jesus leads us in the way that we are to go. We don't have to, as we put our faith and trust in Him and His direction and His guidance in our lives, we see Him open and close the doors of our life. So He leads us in the way that we're supposed to go. Number two, He feeds us. One of my favorite passages I like to highlight right there in the 23rd Psalm is he leads us into green pastures. In fact, it tells us He makes us lie down in green pastures. And I think that's something important for us to keep in mind, that the places that He takes us, there's times that He makes us lie down. In other words, He makes us stop. We get so busy, we get so caught up in things. I think we've seen that in the last several months here in our country as we've been under the lockdown. A lot of people have been forced to kind of stop. So busy, so go, and all of a sudden stop. What do we do now? Well, in those times of stopping, in those times that He makes us lie down, there's a promise there that we're going to be laid down in green pastures. In other words, it's a time we can feed. It's a time we can grow. It's a time we can learn. It's a time to develop in those times. And so He makes us lie down in green pastures. And so He leads us. He feeds us. Number three, He protects us. He's the one that will be there, like we saw with the one sheep that was lost and He went and found. He's the door. The Bible tells us that Jesus Christ is the door. And so He's the one that protects the entryway. None of His sheep will get away. No man can pluck them out of my Father's hand, He says. And so there's a protection there as well. And I grew up when I was in probably junior high school. I worked for a gentleman in our church that had a small farm. And I'd go and I'd help him with his animals. And he had a handful, a couple pigs and a few sheep and a horse and chickens and things like that. And as I'd go and help him, the sheep were the ones that most listened to the shepherd. We would have called him a farmer, of course, at that point. He's just a small farm and had a few animals there, so he's the farmer. The sheep listened to the farmer, and he calls them at the end of the day, and they all come one line, come up out of the pasture, out of the woods or whatever that they are at, and they make their way up to the barn and come in for safekeeping. The pigs don't listen. Pigs don't listen. Chickens don't listen. You say something to chickens, they all flutter away and squawk and stuff. The pigs just snort and digging for stuff. They don't pay any attention. And the sheep listen. And he protects the sheep. He brings them in and gets them in so that they're secure for the night, because they're most vulnerable to a predator and so forth. And so Jesus is our good shepherd. There's protection at the hand of the good shepherd. He leads us. He feeds us. He protects us. Ultimately, the Bible says He lays down His life for His sheep. He lays down His life for His sheep. He's willing to die for His sheep. He's willing to come and live the perfect life that we couldn't live, and die and give His life for us. And so He's the ultimate shepherd, the ultimate one that protects us and guides us and directs us and cares for us. Hope that helps in the days. Maybe there's some days of struggle or dark days or days we're not sure. Listen, we're in the hands of the Good Shepherd. Have a good day.